I've been working with Rena for 2 years now. It's been a really empowering experience for me professionally. The first thing that we did was really sit down and look at the role of the literacy leader and what's involved to define what my sphere of influence really is. There was a lot of confusion at my school surrounding the role that I was supposed to be doing, what my day-to-day duties were. So being able to sit with someone who has already been in the role for a while and has that experience was really great to flesh out exactly what it was that I was hoping to achieve. So once we defined the role, it really set the scene then for looking at our school context and figuring out where to actually start making changes and start having impact. The first thing that we did was sit down and look at the data. Rena spent some time with me looking at the Holy Family data and showing me how she looked for trends and patterns, strengths to build on, but also the areas that needed tightening. And from that we were able to then go to my data, look at my school and do the same thing, really look at what needed to be done. So from there we were able to set directions, which I was then able to take back to leadership and then to staff. Having Rena to discuss that with before I went to leadership was really empowering because I knew that I was on the right track. One thing I found difficult being new to a leadership position was this constant inner doubting that was I really doing the right thing. But being able to sit with Rena and unpack things, I had all the answers, or I felt I did. So that was really empowering for me to have that confidence to go into leadership and say, this is what I've done and this is where I think we need to go. And then to be able to flesh that out with leadership and then take it to staff and enable their buy-in as well to start setting directions and making plans was really great. I think initially in my first year in the role, there was almost no time for reflection because I was so busy just trying to stay afloat and keep things ticking over that I almost didn't have the mental space, whereas having the support of Rena really took the pressure off, and she was very good at asking me thought-provoking questions about myself and my leadership and the context that I was working in and being able to draw in that theory that I was getting through the New Leaders course. I can look at my school now and I can see things that I'm really proud of that I've instigated and we've worked on, but I can see still improvements of things that I'd like to change and work on in those areas. But there's still so much to do. I mean, do you ever really get there? There's always things that you want to work on and you always strive to do better. So I think Rena has really helped me to prioritise what needs to be done in the near future and I guess what can be built on slowly. I feel like Rena's a friend first and foremost, really. It's a professional relationship, but she's very approachable, very open. I've always felt that I could ask her anything at all without fear of judgment or that I wasn't perhaps capable of doing the role. I remember in my first term during the leadership program, I was grappling with some issues at school and I had this light bulb moment of, I could ask Rena. And so I was able to immediately go to the computer and email, and she's always been very prompt at getting back to me. And I had some advice from this experienced voice, within my inbox within a couple of hours, and that was fantastic. So being able to recognise all of a sudden that I had this fantastic resource that I could build on and call on was great. It really took the pressure off. Working with Rena has been fantastic for supporting me in my leadership goals because at the start of my leadership journey, everything just felt large and I didn't know where to start. I really didn't. Working with Rena has enabled me to break things down into manageable sizes, break the goals down into smaller stepping stones along the way, which has made them much more achievable. And one little step gives you confidence to take on the next 2 and 3, and I think it almost becomes a self-perpetuating momentum that happens because of this confidence and this ability to see that you are achieving things and that you can go on to achieve more.
Being part of the mentoring project has definitely helped me professionally as a leader. It's allowed me to develop my skills in active listening. It's allowed me to develop my skills in strategic questioning. It's allowed me to sit back and listen to people and question them rather than jumping in very quickly and being the problem solver. So it's been really good in that kind of developing questionings, active listening, and self-reflecting on what I do every day. It was really good to be able to work out the difference between mentoring and coaching and how you often can seesaw between both. So it's really dependent on the situation. Does this require a mentoring approach? Is it about me giving information, or is it about me developing more self-reflection in somebody else through questioning? So it has developed my understanding of actually what mentoring is and the difference with coaching and the different perhaps contexts or situations that require either or sometimes a mixture of both. So it's been great to be able to reflect upon that, and great to be able to actually give yourself permission to be able to sit back and not have all the answers and not position yourself always as the expert, but to empower others through questioning for them to come up with the answers themselves. Having a succession mentee also allows for building teacher capacity across the school. We have had a focus on developing peer observations and feedback, and she has been instrumental in working with me and others in that process of developing a feedback culture and through structuring peer observations. So I think without that succession planner or that relationship, it would be a lot harder for me to implement those initiatives. What I've learned about myself as a leader through the succession planning and working with my mentee is the notion of, I think Michael Fullan says it, that to go slow to go fast. Often we're so quick to jump in with what we think. This process has allowed me to really slow it down and listen to people and reflect on where they're coming from and where I'm coming from, and bring the process together in a slow but manageable pace. Probably before the mentoring project, I may have jumped in a lot quicker with advice, knowledge, rather than having the opportunity to sit back and really think that the purpose is to empower others, not for me to transfer my knowledge.
The literacy mentoring project's been a great benefit to the school, more so for obviously Rena's professional development. She's been highly proactive in working with our leadership team and developing the capacity of others. She's had a strong relationship with one person specifically in her role, but her capacity is broadened through the project, through her skill development, to impact directly on the whole staff. Part of the project has been that she's been able to define her skills and goals so that she has a far more targeted approach to her development of staff. And to give you a specific example of that, there's been a big focus here on peer mentoring and peer observation. So Rena, through her capacity as a leader through this literacy project, has focused on developing staff's capabilities through peer observation. We've got a major focus on developing the capacity of our staff members. We've got great potential here as a school, and if we can use the talents of a leader like Rena to work in a more targeted process with a junior leader, I think it not only impacts on our school, but it impacts on the system. The relationship between Rena and Amanda has been interesting to watch. and I think this is a very powerful part of Rena's development. When you're working with a mentor, there's also a sense of self-reflection you have to go through. So to put yourself out there and work with a mentee, you have to be confident in your own abilities, but there's also a sense of reflection on how you develop as a leader and how you're going to impart those skills on others. It's about developing systems. Rena's a highly successful leader here, but if she can develop Amanda's abilities, then it impacts on the other schools' effectiveness as well. And we know that's all about student outcomes.
I think probably the biggest growth for me over the last 2 years has probably been from within, and realising once I understood the role and everyone else around me understood the role, that I actually can do it. The doubts have faded, and I've realised that although people around me will continually question what I do and the decisions that I'm making, whether it's staff or leadership, that's okay, and it's that professional dialogue that actually challenges us and makes us reflect and think, and enables the development and the change, and ultimately the change for the kids, which is really what we're here for.